Hey guys, Darren Mark at SuppzGuru.com. Very excited to have Dr. Pierce here with me today. He's the Chief Science Officer for Robor Sports Nutrition, and he's behind the new product that they've just developed, which is called Androvore, which is a testosterone booster. And so one of the things I want to talk to Dr. Pierce about today is that it's not uncommon for men nowadays that are even in their mid-20s, young 30s, to have low testosterone level, correct?
That's absolutely true, Darren. As a matter of fact, with the laboratory values, they've actually lowered some of the low points on them. So the range used to be 250 to 1100. They've lowered it down to 200. And that's kind of the quote-unquote normal range. And it just leads you to wonder, wow, why would they lower it 50 points? Well, it's because the natural testosterone levels are dropping in society.
And what do you think is contributing to that?
You know, I really don't know to be 100% sure, but my thought process is a lot of the GMO type foods that we have. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of everything that we eat or drink is kind of associated with some type of plastic, and those plastics have xenoestrogens in them. Okay. And those xenoestrogens, although to my knowledge we can't measure them in the blood, they still have a hormone effect in the blood, and if that estrogen level is a little bit high, it may suppress the testosterone a little bit.
Interesting, interesting. And do you think that, I think nowadays too, people are a lot busier than usual, and a lot more stress. Does stress ever play a role in that as well?
Oh, absolutely. And used to be when we were growing up, a few years ago, you could go home and relax and watch television. Yeah. and kind of, or go do something like a workout. Now there's so much social media, you just can't get away from everything, yeah. Right? Yeah. So I think that also plays a role, because that stress from social media is just kind of inundating people. So they're on Facebook and somebody may have said something, that they didn't agree with, and they just keep their stress levels up. Yeah. And absolutely, because we're more in a fight or flight response, kind of a little bit more typically now.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that are associated with a low testosterone from men? I mean, obviously the first thing that men always think about is sex drive, right? Like, right. If my testosterone's low, I'm not going to have the sex drive. But there's a lot more to it than just that.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the main things that drives people to go looking for replacement therapy is, hey, I'm losing my libido, mm-hmm. and or the erection strength, quality and strength of the erections, frequency of the erections, all that stuff goes down. But those are those are just one aspect of this. Yeah. Talk about mood. A lot of people don't realize, but they'll find themselves getting irritable, depressed, anxious, for no apparent reason. They were never that person before.
Which I find interesting, because those are usually the things that people associate with high testosterone, right? The guy's got high testosterone, he's angry. Yeah. And it's usually it's sometimes the opposite, right?
Yeah, I tell my patients this, it's if you go on the spectrum of life in the beginning and the end, right? Mm-hmm. You think about a little child, and they're cranky and they don't have high testosterone, and they're crying, and they're got to be taken care of, right? When we get towards the end of life, they made a movie about it. It was called Grumpy Old Men, and they didn't have testosterone levels that were decent either, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But now and then you take it to that teenage level when it was a bit high, and I tell my patients that's why the military loves to get 18, 19-year-olds. They got high testosterone, high drive. You can get them to do a lot of things without thinking, right? Yep. So where should we be? We should be in a happy medium, right? In a place that we actually feel good, our mood's good, we're able to put on a little bit of lean muscle mass, maintain that. I mean, that's huge, right? If a man's testosterone level drops and he's incapable of putting on lean muscle mass, his risk for type 2 diabetes goes up, or other metabolic syndromes. His risk for osteopenia and osteoporosis goes up. Mm-hmm. Risk for Alzheimer's disease goes up. The list goes on and on.
Wow. Now, I know, even for myself, being on testosterone therapy, the one thing that I noticed more than anything, the sex drive, I noticed a little bit more sex drive, but I always had a lot of sex drive anyway, so that didn't matter. But the one thing for me, man, was really just the drive, that drive to want to go to the gym every day. That, I noticed when I started getting into my early 30s that I just didn't have that. I didn't even know what it was at the time, but I didn't have that urge to go to the gym. I didn't have that drive to get up in the morning and go to work. And it's amazing that since I've been back on testosterone therapy, that my mental drive is different as well. And so testosterone level affects that as well, correct?
Oh, absolutely. I just think of it as simple motivation. Mm-hmm. I have so many of my patients that come in and say, my intention to go exercise or eat well is very, very good. Yeah. But they just can't pull the trigger. Yeah. We replace them or improve their testosterone levels to something suitable to that individual, mm-hmm. and their lives change.
The other thing I noticed was depression. I mean, when my testosterone levels were lower, the one thing that I noticed was that I just always felt a little like mopey and down. And, you know, nowadays it seems like anytime somebody's depressed, the first reaction is usually, well, let's prescribe them something that makes them happy. But sometimes it could be a low testosterone level, correct?
Absolutely. And they've done studies on this, and they found that men that were refractory to antidepressants, meaning that the antidepressants weren't working, they checked, they had low testosterone levels, they replaced the testosterone, improved the testosterone level. Lo and behold, they didn't even need, in a lot of cases, they didn't need the antidepressants.
Interesting.
Pretty cool stuff.
That's very interesting. And I noticed my drive back at the gym now again, like now I don't want to miss the gym. Now I want to go in the morning and I'm motivated. So with Androvore, which is the product that you developed with Robor Sports Nutrition, tell us a little bit about the science behind that. I know two of the main or the key ingredients in that product is DHEA, and DHEA has been around for quite a long time.
Yes, it is.
One of the products that a lot of people are probably not familiar with is pregnenolone. Can you tell us first how DHEA works, pregnenolone works, and then how they work together?
Well, you know, it's kind of funny because you can't do one without the other, so I kind of take it down the chain. So there is a pathway, it's a steroidogenesis pathway. Most people don't realize that we make our hormones from cholesterol. Cholesterol is, you know, it's very, very important. So, you know, when you hear these people say, oh, I got to lower your cholesterol, it can go too low, right? Because you can steal so much cholesterol with some of these drugs that you don't have enough to make certain hormones.
Wow.
Right? So cholesterol gets converted to pregnenolone. So pregnenolone is basically the mother hormone. There's a colleague of mine in California that's been doing some research on pregnenolone, and one of the things he found is people with high anxiety levels, low pregnenolone levels. You improve the pregnenolone, the anxiety gets better.
Wow.
Right, and it was kind of, wow, this is pretty impressive, right? He does a lot of stuff with traumatic brain injury and you know, kind of the science of these hormones in the brain and the neurons, how it functions. So then pregnenolone goes down the pathway to DHEA. And the next step is androstenedione, which our federal government has kind of said, oh, you can't have that anymore.
Everybody knows about Andro because of Mark McGuire, right?
Yeah, Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa, that's, you know, in my opinion, it's a supplement. Yeah. If they didn't have the next enzyme they couldn't convert it to testosterone anyway, so it wouldn't have made a difference. Yeah. Right? I always used to say, well, take the best pro bodybuilder out there and start throwing 100-mile-an-hour fastballs at him, see if you can hit him out. Because you know he's on a bunch of testosterone, to see if it's really helping. You know,
I'm going to bet it doesn't.
Yeah, not in that aspect. I think it helps with recovery and that kind of stuff. But
so the DHEA then converts into
androstenedione and then down to testosterone. So to me, pregnenolone and DHEA are the building blocks of testosterone. I think of testosterone as a structure like a house. Pregnenolone and DHEA are the 2x4s in sheetrock. If you don't have enough 2x4s in sheetrock, you're not going to build a house. You might build a doghouse. You might get a little bit, and you'll be in the doghouse. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And I noticed the dosages that you use in Androvore is you've got 50 milligrams of DHEA and 30 milligrams of pregnenolone. So that's what you usually would recommend for someone to use to increase testosterone levels. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I've had great success with that in my clinical practice. And it's kind of funny because some of my patients, it's human nature. Yeah. I forgot to refill this and I stopped taking it. And I'll watch from lab to lab and their testosterone levels. Even on testosterone therapy, their testosterone levels will drop when their DHEA and pregnenolone levels drop. And more importantly, their free testosterone drops. And free testosterone is the key to this whole thing because that's the stuff that's unbound, can get into the cell, penetrate into the nucleus, and do its job.
Interesting. Okay. What about sleep? I mean, does sleep get affected at all by low testosterone levels?
Great question. It absolutely does. A lot of my patients, that's one of the things that drove them in. I don't sleep very well. We improve the testosterone levels, and a lot of times the sleep improves. Now, it's not 100%. I wish it was. Yeah. But for a lot of guys that have that low level of testosterone, that might be the conduit to it. And another observation I've made is when guys have low testosterone, typically they have a little bit of deficiency in their growth hormone production. By improving the testosterone, the growth hormone all by itself picks up. Wow. Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Wow, that's crazy, man. So one of the things I want to talk about, number one, somebody's interested in Androvore, you can go to robornutrition.com and purchase that product. Dr. Pierce, I know when you and I had previously spoke before, I believe you have a website where, so one of the biggest questions that people are probably asking themselves right now, or guys are asking themselves, is, well, how do I find out if my testosterone level is low? I know you have I believe a website as well that they can go and they can order their lab test. Is that correct?
Yeah, at National Discount Labs,
Okay.
you can place your order for any labs that you want. For the most part, we do have a wide array of laboratories, but I would recommend to get a total and free testosterone level. And typically, I also have my patients get a luteinizing hormone level, because that's the hormone that comes from the brain, primarily the pituitary gland, or specifically the pituitary gland, down to the testicles and tells them to go to work. So if that level is low, it kind of gives you an indication that maybe we can improve, the production of luteinizing hormone and stimulate your own endogenous production of testosterone.
Interesting.
So it gives you a little bit clearer picture. We have some packages in there so people can look at that and kind of say, well, this is kind of a little bit more information than I want, or I think I need a little bit more. You can also check your DHEA and pregnenolone levels as well, and I would recommend doing that, because as I said, if they're low and you venture into testosterone therapy, or you're currently on testosterone replacement therapy, those levels are low, you're cheating yourself.
Interesting.
Right.
So it's a matter of balancing all of those things in the body to make sure that you're at optimum levels.
That's the key. It's balance.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you today. I really appreciate you coming in.
I appreciate
this was awesome, man. I think it's very informative for a lot of men that are out there. I mean, again, I know from my own personal experience and working with you as well, that the testosterone therapy does work. I feel like a different guy. I should say man, right?
Yeah.
So thank you again, man, and we look forward to speaking with you soon. Again, if you guys have any other questions for Dr. Pierce, you can always post them on SuppzGuru.com, and we will share those with him. Go to our Facebook page, SuppzGuru, and you can also instant message us there as well. Thanks, and have a great day.